Earthly world, man. Firstly, one must know the true state of man and must have the ability to judge oneself right. One's own heart exists in him/her internally, must be analyzed oneself third partly, and must know if biased part is original or habitual. If it were original, even if it were habitual, judgment for right or wrong must be done in trying to achieve a harmonious completion of man. But commonly called a good person that has no powerful mind cannot perform important tasks such as a mission from the heaven. There is a point of peaceful mind in the eyes of the gods as well as oneself. Man must reach to that point. No gods have the same temperament. So there should be no conflict nor competition. For man to exist, the guardian deities protect him/her. What they guard and their work respectively differ. They influence one's real life and sometimes give direct effects on man's flesh body. If man who is protected by the various guards does not notice it and suffers, gets angry, mourns and even forgets one's original state and stays in momentary pleasures of this earthly world, man falls in the state of enigma and disarray. Sometimes little troubles get bigger and they stand against man's way. This is wrong, though it occurs from one's own immatureness. The guardian spirits and the changes in the natural environment are prepared by the gods for man and invisibly tied with life of man. Man must know about these facts. Man can know what influences come to him/her is dependent on what one ties with. One's judgment can be done straight from the spirit. Both man's and the God's intelligence become calm and right. To know what is right for man then and future requires adequately understandable judgment. If it is originated too much from the emotions, it would inflict disadvantages. Why it is so? The wills of the dusts, produced by the emotion such as anger, pain, jealousy, etc., are all filling in this world ingeniously and mysteriously. And they further entice the more dusts. Though it seems to be insignificant, but when it comes upon man it becomes significant. This is because one's own will guides the consequence. Man's will must always be in the original state. By means of the will everything comes to formalize. Man, even in the four-dimensional world, spends a life of will and is given life from the gods. The original gods have the natures that are originated in their will. That is why man must pay attention to how and what one's will is to be. When man spends a life in so-called the three-dimensional world, the present world, the fructification world, the reflection world, the limited world, etc., man tends to be attracted by prevalences now and then and falls in the situation where right and reasonable judgment could not be done. Man must not waste time in this world. It is the world of fruition where the heaven and the earth come together. All the creations in this world have a will. When it comes to the living thing, all the creation is alive and all movables move. So are stones, rocks, air and soils. Substances in invisible state move too and repeat progress and recycling. All the creations in this world spend a life like man spends a life. And they come back to where they have departed. This is a principle. Divine providence rules everything in ultimate details and creates the mechanism in the universe which is unchangeable. The will actuates in this world results in condensed state that is invisible. And whether it is good or bad, it transforms into the spectrum body and forms a shape of human body. It stays on man's surroundings or lies on top of man's flesh body. It sometimes remains in this world and gathers to break out bacteria. Achievements of man of the god directly go back to one's throne and the gods in the spiritual world. Who are in charge of administration or the gods in one's spiritual lineage deal with them. All the conducts, good or bad, of man are recorded. The God's spiritual world has returned to normalcy, and now all the transactions and the record-taking are carried out normally. Among all the creatures, vegetation has also a will, but mostly it belongs to instinct for survival and procreation. Vegetation has no emotions, but it has consciousness of existence for mankind that is ordained in the first place. It is like characters ordained not only for vegetation but in fact also for all the nature for human beings. It is consciousness that gathers on man. Mechanism of the nature in this world is made that way. This world has time and accordingly the limit. The upper world does not have time. But all the incidents, conducts of both man and the gods in the past are recorded. Now time of the freewheeling comes near to an end. Divine blessing in the beginning revives, and all the worlds from the 7 to the 3 dimensions have been cleaned and restored. Time has come to man on the earth to return to the original. It has been expected by the upper worlds. Prosperities in the highest ranks in the past and customs, common senses that are made up in the society are now being reconsidered. And it can be noticed that there is a movement for the renovation. Because it is made of the wills, so it can alter the circumstances. What to think and where to place of one's will are important. In the words of Jiri Tenjou Hanode no Okami, says, abandon books, learnings and common knowledge in the society. Go back to the infant of the heaven and the earth. That saves the world. All becomes quite clear when one gains an innocent mind and gets along with the divine principle of the heaven and the earth. It can never be understood unless an ordinary sense and common knowledge in this world change. Why is the false world set up? The world without the gods has continued until it tremendously accumulates the dusts of the various senses and the egoistic experiences. Invisible sense, though it is consumed, does not disappear. It remains in this celestial sphere and in the minds of people who are spread to the spectrum world as the dusts. As if it looks like a right sense and proper thinking in this world, they are just the dusts unless they are born from the immaculate heart of the gods. Sadness, pain, and human emotion that happen through unavoidable circumstances are also only the dusts. Worse than those are hatred, envy and cruelty piled up in this world, which bring no good effects onto man of the gods. But they are just harmful. Man as well as the gods have no way but go back to the original state. Now it is the time of the supreme joy. 2000 years ago Christ says, heaven is near. Repent. What Christ says is he is seeing the present days coming. Christ well understands the plot of the 3,000 years arranged by Kokuso Kunatakatachi Okami, and has helped to accomplish the great achievement. All the necessary people required to achieve the task of the gods are scrutinized, their spirits in the heaven and the earth. All those who work on the tasks of the gods have assembled in full force in this world, which never happens in the past.